Hi. So today I want to talk a little bit about jobs in this episode. Um, Not Steve Jobs. Well, technically, yeah, Steve Jobs is gone, so we have to think along lines of Wozniak only now. But anyway, jobs uh, are kind of scarce, especially if you live in the California area. Um, well, for someone like me, they're kind of scarce because I've tried and tried and tried, and to no avail. Only have just a few scraps on the table left for any sort of job or career that might meet my needs at some level. So, what I think the best thing to do here in this situation, if you're at the same level of employment that I am, working a minimum wage job, it's not bad. It's not the best things could be, and it's definitely not the worst. So, be that as it may, when you already have a job, it's easier to find another one. Okay, when you have one, it's easier to find more than what you may already have. So the best situation in anyone's eyes for what we can do to make things better for all of us Americans is to probably try to learn how to market yourself better. So if you want to try and try your hand at getting a better job, some of the best things to do would be, well, try to dress nice, try to act respectful, speak with respect in your voice and a loud, commanding tone, but not too loud or too overt, but try to be forthright with your shoulders back, and your determination will show, and you'll be confident, both in your interview and in the way that the interviewee receives you, or interviewer receives you, rather. Um, some of the best ways to do this is to try and think of yourself as a worthy commodity to be sold. What you think would be the best situation for you. Well, basically, what job you want, what career path you want to choose. To start with, jobs are not career paths. Okay, they're just for here and now, and to sustain your means until you're able to meet a career path head on. And some of the more future videos, in the future, I'll cover that more directly. But right now, I wanted to talk a little bit on the job perspective. So the best way I've discovered to meet this goal head on is to try and market yourself towards your skill set, what you think you're the best at, or at least what you are good at. If you're good at selling things, and you know you are, then you probably want to pursue a career in retail, or at least to a retail market. Now, if you're good at cooking or anything like that, restaurants might be your point of view. Restaurants might be the best thing for you to try. Um, to say the least, if you're good at operating machinery, maybe a factory or a warehouse would be up your alley. But obviously, those things are common sense. I don't really think I'm going to have to touch a lot on those, but I do know that here in the state of California, they require you to have a license to operate a forklift, and you got to get that before you get the job. And it's $60. So finding a school to teach you that is quite simple, but if you have no money, it can be difficult to get that licensure. So your first goal should always be to get a job, any job, whatever, just until you get enough money to get whatever you need for your next job or your probably more long-term, preferable full-time and higher paying position, which is what my situation is. So I'm going to talk directly from experience here. I'm working a part-time job to see how the things go with that, to see if it can meet my needs, at least in the meantime, in the short term, and then maybe pay for a licensure for a forklift very soon at some place that teaches it, and then I can prove my worthiness of operating a forklift, and then get a job with said companies operating equipment in a warehouse setting that pays a good bit more than an entry-level job standard. Now, through my experience looking for jobs in this area, it's not been very easy for me. Okay, I applied numerous times to Starbucks, to no avail. I'm not sure why, but I think maybe it has a little bit to do with my timing and possibly the deal with the holiday. It's a good indicator that they're probably not hiring because they're full staffed, or I don't quite fit the mold for them, I guess. I'm not sure exactly what it is they're looking for. other than humans that can make coffee. It's quite simple. It's not a very difficult job, and it doesn't require much of a mental acuity, if you know what I'm saying, to operate a coffee machine or espresso machine. It's quite easy to do those things. And you just push buttons, lift levers, and fill up cups. Not a hard job. And have to have the wherewithal to stick to an ordered pattern and resolve issues as they come along if they throw wrenches in your pattern. So not a hard concept to gather or grasp, rather, and not a hard thing to do if you're so inclined. So for anyone else looking for jobs in the area, I think that your best bet for entry level is going to be the restaurant industry or service of people. So not a bad assessment and not a far off guess from the actual truth. It's been my experience that that's pretty much been the case. So with that being said, I want to try and go a little further into the job thing. So one of the best things to do in the situation where you're jobless or you don't have any career paths, whatever, try your hand at anything first. That's one of the best things to do to gauge what you would like to do, what you may otherwise get bored with. It's not hard to think on certain things like that, but I do know that it can get tiresome because you may get bored thinking about what you would get bored about doing. So the key component here is keeping things at least a little bit entertaining. So what you think you might want to do in the future. What I would like to do personally is grow my YouTube channel. That's one of the things I want to do. I want to try and move this YouTube channel into something that's better, better than it was the day before. Talk a little bit more about some topics I don't hear a whole lot about on YouTube that are talking about things I want to hear. So I know that there are job people and people that talk about resumes and all of this. I know how to do all that. So the resume itself, writing the resume, is not really something that I have a hard time with. Okay, I can grasp the concept of a resume like that. I have a resume, a pretty good one, and it's full of a lot of jobs. So the next area is presentation. Your skill set is also represented in your ability to dress yourself professionally. Now, that's one area in which I lack currently because I don't have the funds to buy some nice clothes to look nice for a job interview with anything paying more than $11 an hour. So it's kind of hand in hand. It goes, if you want to play the part, you got to look the part. You know what I'm saying? You want to dress like a professional and be a man or a woman in that regard, you have to dress in that regard. So if you're a female and you want a position of power, a pantsuit's your way to go. Okay? If you're a man and you want a job in a position of power, I'd say, well, a good power suit is the way to go. And power suit, I mean by maybe a sport coat or blazer, something that goes over a nice button-down shirt, pick an odd color, like something vibrant, not too crazy, not pink or anything like that, but in the green or blue family or in the purple family is okay. And then a nice solid black tie, or a tie with not too wild a design on it, kind of calm. And that would give you a nice little Windsor knot. I don't recommend going with the clip-ons. If you don't know how to tie a Windsor knot, use Google, okay? Because that's how I relearned to tie a Windsor knot, rather. I simply forgot how. But yeah, it will show you step-by-step how to tie a Windsor knot into a proper tie. And the proper tie length is right to the belt, or just a little above the belt buckle, or right at it. So you don't want it too long, like coming beneath your belt line or falling out of the gig line, which is straight from your button-down shirt to your belt loop. You want the fly of your pants also to line up perfectly with your button-down shirt. If you don't have a button-down shirt on, it's a polo, you want it at least to be straight enough with the buttons that you can tell there's a line from there down to your waist. And also the tie needs to be centered with that. I do recommend tie clips to keep them in place because it just looks better and more professional. Now, a good suit that can go a long way doesn't have to be an expensive suit. You can go to like the Goodwill locations or JCPenney outlet if you're in an area of the country that has an outlet. You can go into one of those places and grab up a nice three-piece suit from different pieces and put them together and make them look nice and even cohesive in some ways to snag yourself a nice job with little to no skill in that area. The best thing to do is to do a little bit of research, put your nose into the books or into Google and research briefly topics covered by that subject predicated by your job interest. So you do a little bit of fact checking, do some reading at libraries, go to Barnes and Noble, crack some books. And yes, I mean some real books because those things are better, often better than YouTube or Google. But in some cases, YouTube can be better. It just depends. Use your judgment. Use your judgment, okay? Because you know when people are BSing you and when they don't, when they're not. At least I hope you do. But that's what I'm here for, to help you at least get past all the resume writing crap and think on beyond that. You're not just a commodity to be sold, okay? You are a sovereign individual. You are the best person to represent yourself and the only person that's going to speak for you, that knows what you want, because you are yourself, aren't you? You are you. And you know that speaking for yourself is very important. So being modest in that regard is a bad thing, okay? You don't want to be too modest. You don't want to be too overt, and you don't want to be too outspoken. So you want to be somewhere in the middle. A healthy middle ground is good. Having your mind and your wits about you is very important. But losing your sight of what's important for anyone else around you is a very bad thing to do. So you want to keep your mind focused on the goal, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, what your vision of your future is in about 3 years. You want to have your own place, or at least afford a nicer place, or maybe, get that car you've been dreaming about, or car you've wanted for a long time. Now, I don't recommend going too expensive because those cars cost a lot of money. And even with an entry-level job at a warehouse, you're not going to be able to afford a $40,000 car. If you do, it's not the goal of this position, okay? It's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to help you spend money wisely and spend time wisely. So the best way to make this occur, again, is to get a good suit going, good dress, okay? At least something that looks professional, that presents you in a manner in which is perfect for the job. That does mean clothes that fit. It doesn't have to be tailored exactly, as long as you find something close enough to your actual fit. If you do need tailoring, I do recommend it. There's places to get cheap tailoring done around town. Mostly they're located around Army bases because the military guys always use a tailor, okay? Not a hard thing to do because everyone's different. We're all shaped differently. Even though we're all human, there are still some imperfections. Some of us have longer legs than, we have one leg longer than the other, one arm longer than the other. We're not quite the same size, girth on each arm or whatever. We don't quite fit the same shirt if we're tall or short. We're in between that imperfection somewhere. So it's a good thing to get your clothes tailored if you need them to, but it's better to get the closest to the actual fit you can without having to tailor it. You want to spend that extra money. So just try and get clothes that fit. That's the number one thing. If you can't tuck your shirt in, if it's too short, it's too small. You need something longer, okay? It doesn't have to be down to your knees, but it needs to be somewhere falling around about, I would say, right at the underwear line if you wear briefs, or right at your hip bones if you wear boxers. So right at the bones in your legs, where you feel that bend in your leg. So the proper height for a shirt should be about right here. For the curve in the tuck-in part of the shirt should be falling around right here, right at the bend of the leg. That's where you want the tuck point of the shirt to be. And you don't want it to be any higher than that because the shirt's too small. That means when you raise your arms, your shirt will come untucked. And that's not a good look either. But if you're going for the untucked look, which that's okay, I suppose, depending if you're working like Jamba Juice or if you're working at a carnival or, a day spa or whatever, they don't really care if you wear nice, like 3-piece suits and clothing. So get a flat, non-tuckable shirt. The kind of dress shirt that's meant to be worn untucked. Get one of those. Much smarter buy. If that's your thing. But ties are always very useful. And a good tie can make the entire outfit. Even if your shirt is horrible and your blazer is horrible, a great tie can often fix it. But I don't recommend going with any other color than black or white with a blazer. Black is real good. It's a very neutral color. And it's a very useful business color. And it makes you look professional. White's also the same. It's a little formal, but the right kind of person can pull it off, and you'll know pretty soon after you put it on if it's really going to fit you or not. And if you don't have good taste, if you don't know if you have good taste, then ask someone around you who's in that store who helps you pick clothes out, maybe someone who works there, to see their opinion. You know, but just use your own judgment. Chances are you won't be wrong, even if you're yourself. If you are yourself, then you won't be wrong, regardless of what color you wear. But it's better to use black. Much better to use a black blazer. Um, let's see. With the black blazer, I don't recommend shorts or any cargo pants or anything like that. No khakis. Black slacks only. Okay. Now, the reason I say black slacks only is because, well, you want to match your blazer. You want to have that cohesively from head or from at least shoulder or, around the neck area, shoulder, down to your feet, one solid line. You want that to be at least one cohesive line so that you can show the person that's interviewing you, you know how to dress. Okay. A black blazer with camo or not camo, but khaki colored cargo shorts and a white shirt and a red tie, you're not going to get that job. Okay. Just saying, because cargos don't go with that outfit, and you shouldn't have to be told this. That should be an obvious thing, but I'm going to go and say it just in case anyone's wondering. Cargos are not professional, and they don't go with a suit. Okay, so the next best thing you could do after you have the suit put together is, well, you got to smell nice, but you don't want to go too crazy. So I recommend using essential oils. Something to go like right at the nape of your neck, like right around this area here on both sides, not too much, but I recommend cinnamon or something of that menthol variety, mentholyptus or whatever. Hibiscus flowers, if you like the flower scent, you can use that too. Also not very overpowering, but hypoallergenic. That way people in the realm of like me that are allergic to things like very, very grossly overdone feminine perfumes really set my allergies off. And it's not something I enjoy. So essential oils are the best thing to do because one, they don't offend people, and two, they don't send off any unwanted allergies from anyone who may be allergic to anything you might wear. I'm heavily allergic to Avon, so I'm constantly fighting that. But really and truthfully, essential oil is your best bet. It's not too strong. Even if you use too much, you'll be fine after about an hour or so. But you'll know if you use too much because you'll reek of it, and then you need to use soap and water to at least dilute it some. So that's a way to dilute it, at least on the skin. So I do recommend that. Much better than using any kind of like a real powerful scent like a musk or anything to do with Brute or Adidas or whatever. Those are not good colognes to use for an interview because those are colognes you use to pick up women. Okay, to get a date, you use those colognes if you really want to use them. I would still stand by using essential oils over those colognes any day because one, they're healthy, and two, they don't offend anyone with overtly offensive odors, and three, they don't set off anyone's allergies. So, yeah, just saying. That's the last piece of the appearance setting. Having a good haircut is also a good essential thing. If you don't have any hair, that's cool. Rock the bald head. That's much better than having a mess up top or a half bald head or a couple of stray hairs, like some of them holding on to the last vestige of their carpet. Go ahead and shave it all off. It's okay. Hardwood floors are better than sparsely covered floors. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, a chrome dome's better than a ragged mop top. Okay. Just let that crap go. Just let it go because it doesn't look good and you're never going to make it look good. Okay. Just get over it. It's okay. It's really not that essential. And when you go into an interview and you're a balding guy and you have a bald head and you shave it nice and clean, and it looks like it's nice and clean, like Mr. Clean, they know you know how to take care of yourself and you're groomed well. So that does show off a bit of your skill and also shows you respect your image to at least other people. That's part of the interview process. You're selling yourself here, but also don't sell yourself short. Okay. This is not the only reason you're getting this job. But it is a major playing component in the interview process. Whether you get the job or not is up to you. Essentially up to you and the interviewer. But I do want to put that out there that at least having those things in your wheelhouse. Okay, so a good outfit to wear for your interview, a good resume, which you've already been over that, and great key ideas of what you think you should want to do. And as far as a job goes, what you think your highest pay should be, and work in your skill set. If you're a forklift operator, warehouses are going to be the good thing because they pay the most. Forklift operators don't really get paid a lot working at Macy's or JCPenney, so don't go there, okay? They don't have forklifts anyway. They might have pallet jacks. That's also that's not a really high paying job. So forklift operators pay well, get paid well, okay? At least in the areas that I've worked, they paid well. So learning to work within your skill set is a very good thing to do. If you're good with food and good with people, then obviously working in a restaurant is a good thing for you. And it may also be, it would also stand to reason to be good in retail. So, kind of put two and two together there. And it requires a little bit of math, I guess, and a little bit of skill of knowing where you fit in the job market. So this also doesn't cover a lot of the societal view, but I wanted to try and alleviate some of the stress regarding what you should wear to interviews. It's obviously going to be something nice, but I don't mean Sunday clothes. That's overdoing it. A nice sport coat, a clean white button-down shirt or a clean pastel-colored shirt, and a nice dark black or blue or tie that goes with the pastel color. Doesn't match it, but goes with it. Maybe a shade darker or lighter is a very good way to go. Also, a very good tight Windsor knot is also, or at least a nice looking Windsor knot that looks like a Windsor knot that you know how to tie it, is a good thing. Clip-ons, you want to avoid that because it makes you look lazy, okay? So just trust me on that. It's a very key thing to get a job. In the interview, you will impress the mess out of these folks if you wear good looking clothes and you know how to match colors. So if they don't quite match in the tie, that's a good thing. Just go a shade darker or lighter, but stay in the same family of that color. Like if you have, let's say, a pastel or like a lavender color, go with a purple or a violet tie. Those two ties, those two colors go well with lavender. And you might think it's the same color, but it's not, okay? Just look at your Crayola box. They're separate colors. There might be different shades or gradients of purple, but they are not the same color, okay? That's the same to be said about choosing a tie. So if you want to go with a solid color, which is what I would recommend for the interview. If you like designs, I go with probably a swirly pattern or something, that looks kind of fractal in a pattern. You know what I mean? It's the same as it's the same as at microscopic levels it is as the largest. So you can see micro and macroscopic similarities in the design. It's fractal. You know what that means. So the patterns are in the pastel color of the tie that also shines with the fabric they use to embroider the tie's design with, that goes with the lavender colored shirt, then the black sport coat or blazer, then the black slacks, and then a nice pair of shoes. And I don't recommend sandals, okay? Dress shoes, or at least something that's a similar color to your slacks. Black shoes, good. Dress shoes are probably better, but I wouldn't wear tennis shoes, okay? Nothing like that. Definitely not sandals. Not sandals. I mean, if you're working at Jamba Juice, go ahead and wear sandals. But in an interview for a job with serious pay, don't wear sandals. Don't even wear tennis shoes. Wear dress shoes that go with your pants. At least the same color. Now, they don't have to be Sunday caliber. I'm talking like going to, one of those relaxed fit places like the Adidas, or not Adidas, but Skechers relaxed fit shoes. At least if they're the dress code or dressier looking end of the shoes, like the nicer business looking kind that are slip-ons, that's a good idea because it looks professional and you look very smart when you wear comfortable shoes because people know you mean business, that you're not screwing around. And in some warehouses, they even require you to wear steel toes. So it's probably good to get a pair of those, especially if you're going to do it preemptively. I would do it before the interview, but I wouldn't wear them to the interview because it's an interview, not your first day at work. You don't want to be assuming that you'll get the job or preemptive in that too far. You want to show your worth and play to your strengths. That's my advice. Thanks a lot.